Hey guys, this is Lewis. This is Charlie's half brother. He is a 3-year-old gelding by Sandman. He's out of a Cat King Coal mare. She won just over 20,000 in the cutting NCHA earnings in Texas before she was injured and then brought back as a brood mare. Actually, they're riding her now. I've ridden her a few times. They found out that her injury was mostly ulcers, just a FYI. So once they cleared that up, she's actually been pretty good. She's a very nice horse. Lewis here, his mom's the same way. He's kind of easy-minded. He's good-minded. Nothing phases him, nothing spooks him. He's very quiet, but on these quieter horses, you got to use more enthusiasm with your feet to get them going, same as his mother. But he's super athletic. He's super nice to ride. He's super stoppy. He lopes really well. He could go either way. He could go cutting or cow horse, I believe. We've only had, again, about 4 months on him. We just started him as a late 2-year-old in November. And today what I want to do is teach you guys the power position. So the power position, I try to put on all my babies after, say, 4 or 5 months, or when they feel broke enough to where they're following their nose, they're stopping good, they know what the bridle means, coming back off of it, loping around, cowing up a little bit, getting that turn. Then I start teaching them the power position. And the reason we do this, you don't want to use this all the time. This is just something you need to have, I believe, in your herd work and sometimes your fence work, to where when your horse stops on that cow or the flag, they like to lean in with that rib cage or that shoulder. They like to lead with that rib cage or shoulder. And this power position is what prevents it. And what I find with this power position as well is it really teaches that horse to free up that front end in the stop so that not so bracy. And also it helps that turn, because when they're in that power position, which is a little bit of arc to that cow, they roll through that turn a lot nicer and a lot easier. It's like a prerequisite down the road for me. For most of my horses, not all of them, some of them want to go really straight, but for most of my horses, it's a prerequisite that they get into the power position before they do the cow turn. So that's what the stage Lewis is in now, and I've only been teaching him this now for not even a couple weeks. Just been touching on it here and there just before we work a flag or a buffalo, and he's really starting to get it. But he is a little bit on the lazier side, so I do have to use a little more leg. But what the power position is, you guys, is when you're on a cow, and say that cow is to the right of me here, this horse will always want to, or good cow horses will always want to lean into their cow. And so it's the shoulder and the rib. You kind of feel it at the rib cage, like right at the girth here is where you feel everything leaning and pushing. Sometimes they're arced the wrong way. But when that shoulder leads, then the nose and the hip are usually behind. So the turn is really bad and the stop's really bad because the shoulder is always leaning or leading into that cow. So this power position really takes that out of them. It gets the rib a little bit loose here and that shoulder. So we want the shoulder to actually move one step over off the cow, but the nose and the hip to stay up. And we don't use the outside leg to hold the hip up. We're just using cow side leg to get that little bit of shape, and then that shoulder to come off my cow side leg. So it looks kind of like this. As I back him up, I'm going to have a little bit of bend towards the cow, and I'm going to push that shoulder just like that. So technically what's happening is this front, or your cow side front leg, this front right leg here, is actually coming on a diagonal underneath me towards his outside hip. That's technically what's happening, and if you can get that on every horse, that would be all you need, just that much, just on a diagonal front right to the hind left. And not a lot of bend. Some are going to give you more, some are less, but it's just a little bit of bend. I don't want them too hooky to the cow. I just want that foot just to move that shoulder a hair. So again, it's going to be back, and it's always back. It's never forward. It's back. Push that shoulder. There, he was soft in the chin. So I like my horses to get soft in that neck and chin too when I do it. And he was a little bit stiffer, starting this, and most will be. Some are a little bit softer first, and then you got to work on the shoulders. So you're going to have to bounce back and forth between moving the foot, then getting the face soft, maybe getting the face soft, then moving the foot. So each horse is going to be a little bit different there. But he's at the stage now where I want that face soft, back, and push that foot right there. And that was a little much even, like he didn't even need to come off that much, but that was good. So that's the power position. If you can get that draw with that shoulder coming out, but the nose and the hip up to that cow, I can guarantee you 9 out of 10 horses are going to turn better on that flag. And then if they anticipate you're going to do that when they go into the stop, they're not going to stop and lean the shoulder in, which is what when you get that pop, pop, pop on the front end. It's because they're pushing on that front end and they're really leaning into their cow. So a horse is a really good anticipator. So if I can get him anticipating that we go stop and we get in that power position right away, then he's going to start stopping and not leaning in. He's going to start stopping and leaning out. Ideally, straight is perfect, but we need this because this is better than the alternative, which is always leaning in to that cow on your stop. So one exercise I do to get this power position is I'll trot a circle and I'll pretend the cow is on the outside of my circle. So this is how we're going to do it here. Wake up, Louie. So just trot a nice round circle and then get my stop and then draw, power position. And then once I get that one step and his nose is soft, I'm just going to roll him through the turn here quietly and trot him out. This exercise isn't meant to be done fast. It can be done fast, especially if you have a cow horse or a team penner where you're doing it at a lot higher speed, more of a gallop. But for the cutting horses, we want them to think about that turn and kind of go slower through that turn anyway. So we want them to match their cow, not just be jumping all over the place. Again, so this side, so now that I've turned to the right and I'm going to the right, now my bend is going to be to the left. There, that was really good. I'm going to turn them all the way through. Nice and slow, and trot them out. So always to the outside. So nose and hip are go to the outside. Shoulders slightly in to, well, your herd side leg. Herd side leg is off, and so is my herd side rein. So if you watch my hands when I come towards you guys here, when I go to stop and get that power position, the herd side leg and rein are off, and my cow side leg and rein are on, and then when I want to go through that turn, I just switch legs. I just open and close doors. So I'm closing the inside doors, opening the outside doors, and then when I want to turn, I'm closing the outside doors, opening the inside doors. So they work, my feet and my hands always match. Come towards you guys again, show you. Good. Left foot. There, perfect. Now outside leg and rein. Push that foot a bit more. Good. And stop. Good boy. And that's the power position. I mean, you're going to run into, when you do this, you're going to run into a lot of different things. I mean, some might even rear up on you because they don't know how to go backwards and move the shoulder, but it's one thing we do with the babies a lot to help this exercise is to back up and steer. So in the beginning, the first month or two, I might back up my horse and then I'll move that shoulder this way and then back up again and then move that shoulder this way so that they're always, they know how to back up and steer. And if you can get your horse to back up and steer those shoulders like that, that power position will be a lot easier to teach. One reason why it's not going to be easy to teach is because when you start your colts and you get them to always follow their nose, now you're actually telling them to move away from their nose. And that's a lot more confusing for a baby. So it doesn't take long, but once they get it, they got it. And it really makes your horse. We'll show you the turns he's been getting on the next video with the flag, but it's really helped Lewis, especially with his turns. One thing also that you'll find is that, well, it's taking them off my cow. It does. Like, it will take them off their cow, and sometimes it'll make them less cowy. So you have to go back and forth until they're really soft and get in that power position, but they're cowy as well. So don't think, well, you know, now my horse isn't cowy. It's like, well, get them cowy again. So then go back mechanical and fix that power position, but then get them cowed up and then go back to the power position, get them cowed up until they can do both, where they get into the power position, but yet they're still attached to their cow. So we never want to take cow out of them, but it will happen by pulling the shoulder away. You just got to bounce back and forth until you get them exactly where you want them, which is mechanical and cowy. That's it for that exercise, you guys. Hopefully that'll help you out. Go ahead and try it, and if you have any questions, leave some comments below. and like and subscribe. It helps the algorithm, and so we can do some more videos. Thank you for watching.